Or even better, stop by the Barnyard Market on Route 100 between Macungie and Shimersville and view their plants, produce, lawn ornaments, and more personally. Don't forget to let Bubber and his staff know that you saw their commercial on CWTAP television. Be it spring, summer, or fall, the Barnyard has it all. Antonio's Pizza and Ice Cream, located in the 25th Street Shopping Center, just off Route 22 in Easton, has been serving up some of the finest pizzas, subs, traditional Italian dinners, and desserts in the Lehigh Valley for decades. With over a dozen different types of pizza, calzones, and strombolis, 22 different combinations of hot and cold subs, an extensive list of Italian entrees, Antonio's has something for the whole family to enjoy. And don't forget to save room for the Hershey's ice cream for dessert. Antonio's Pizzeria and Ice Cream is open Monday through Saturday, beginning at 11 a.m. and are closed on Sunday. Antonio's delivers to much of the greater Easton area, so you can even have their delicious dishes brought right to your doorstep. Give them a call to place an order for pickup or to find out if Antonio's delivers to your neighborhood by calling Antonio's Pizzeria and Ice Cream at 610-250-9811. That's 610-250-9811. Antonio's Pizzeria and Ice Cream in the 25th Street Shopping Center in Easton. The College Hill Tavern, located at 420 Cattell Street in Easton, is more than just your neighborhood bar, it's an Easton tradition. Whether you're off to Fisher Field to watch Lafayette or simply passing through town, stop by the College Hill Tavern, where the Milham family serves some of the best food, drink, and company around. The College Hill Tavern is a museum for Lehigh Valley sports fans, so you always have an opportunity to talk about local high school, college, or professional sports with your fellow patrons. The College Hill Tavern offers a full menu as well as 10 beers on tap with an extensive selection of bottled domestic, imported, and craft brews. If beer isn't your thing, the College Hill Tavern has a fine wine list and wide variety of other liquors. The College Hill Tavern is open 7 days a week from 12 noon until 2 a.m. with food served until midnight daily. Visit the College Hill Tavern online at cht.bar or call them at 610-829-5470. That's 610-829-5470. Better yet, stop by the College Hill Tavern at 420 Cattell Street in Easton today and experience this Lehigh Valley tradition personally.
The 67th annual Kutztown Folk Festival is coming and offers plain old family fun. For more details on this 9-day celebration, visit kutztownfestival.com. There's plenty of fun for folks of all ages. Come and eat until you ouch! See the nation's largest quilt sale and auction. Chat with some of the country's finest crafters and enjoy wonderful good entertainment. The Kutztown Folk Festival, July 2nd through July 10th.
Jaguda Babelu, Zygmunta bije dzwon. Tak długo nasza Wisła zwyciężać będzie wciąż. Zwycięży orzeł biały, zwycięży polski lud, zwycięży nasza Wisła, krakowski król. Wierny swojej drużynie, znów przyjdę na jej mecz i smutek serca zginie.
All right, 8 o'clock on a Monday night on CWTAP, right here in Emmaus, Pennsylvania. That means it's time for the corner kick, and we mix up the opening song every week and pick one of the hymns from one of the teams from Europe. Today we ended up with Wisła Kraków, my favorite team, but that's only because my co-host here, Rob Celentano, didn't approve of my original selection.
Well, you were going to have Juve, and I'm an AC Milan fan, so you're going to put Juve's hymn on, so I'd rather you not. Is your mic on, by the way?
No, actually it's not. It's probably for the best. Good catch. See, that's why you get an A.
Yeah.
And, no JJ tonight. JJ's on baby duty.
Yeah.
But I'm sure he's got us on, JJ. Hopefully you're enjoying the morning after, if you will, now the night after, a nice win for New York Red Bulls over the Seattle Sounders. We'll talk a little bit of MLS to start off the show. If you follow us on Twitter, if you're watching us online, not sure if there's too many tonight or not, but I gave Bobby a homework assignment, told him he had to find the leading scorer of the League of Tajikistan for the show this week, and he delivered. The leading scorer, we'll talk about that in a little bit. I need a commercial break to make sure that I actually pronounce this name correctly. Because I threw one out to him as a joke, but I was even off.
Yeah, I
on
couldn't
that
find
one.
it at all.
No, you came up with it.
Well,
We're giving you credit. You did a good job.
I got the team right.
That's right. You got the
I got
team.
the team that the player's on right.
That's right. You did a good job with it.
Just because they have the championship in the Tajik League.
That's it. You just start with that and then go from there. Usually, whoever's got the champ is the leading scorer somewhere on that team. But let's get going here. Obviously, Red Bull. We were both there last night. Actually, met
A
up-
coincidence.
Yeah, it was just pure coincidence.
Yeah.
that we had-
Are you at the Red Bull game? I was like, yeah, I am. What section?
And it turned out we were about 2 sections apart.
Yeah.
But what did you think last night?
Big win. I mean, this isn't the Seattle Sounders of a couple years ago. I think we know that. Remember that duo Obafemi Martins and Clint Dempsey used to just like destroy the Red Bulls every time they played. But this actually was a really good thing to see. The Red Bulls got kind of a break. Clint Dempsey's on the road, so we dealt with Jordan Morris a bit. Red Bulls came through and got a 2-0 win.
Yeah, they did a good job to really shut the attack down going for Seattle, who, with the exception of maybe 10 minutes in the middle stages of the first half and another maybe 10 minutes in the second, never really got going. They never got in sync. And there were large swaths of the game where New York was able to simply just pass the ball back and forth, retain possession, wear out those legs from Seattle. And Grelinho, as I have titled him, the Long Island Ronaldo, Mike Grella, probably one of the best finds in MLS history at this point now. 2 goals. First one was nice. Second one was even better. Didn't give up on the possession. Took advantage of a poor mistake from a defender and chipped the goalkeeper. I think a lot of players probably would have tried to go low on that, get around the goalkeeper. Little cheeky to go over the top.
Yeah, I mean, it's up for goal of the week now, so that's always nice. But, I mean, it's always talked about how Mike Grella, came from playing at Leeds United, with Lloyd Sam back in 2010. And then he kind of was hopping around teams. I know he played for the Carolina Railhawks in the NASL. And I remember seeing him, 2 seasons ago now? Maybe, not 3, 2 seasons ago, I think he started with the team. And I was watching the IMG Academy tournament on a not so great stream for the Red Bulls, and I remember seeing
remember that tournament.
Yeah, I remember
watching that. I remember I watched one game they played against the team from Denmark.
Yeah,
and they couldn't even get the camera focused on the field.
It was terrible camera angle and everything. But anyway, I saw this blonde guy just sprinting down the field, and of course, his sprinting is basically everyone else. I mean, he's a slow guy to be fair. But I saw this blind guy. Who is that? Who is that? And it was Mike Grella, and I was like, this guy looks like he's gonna be something. I'm not saying I called or anything. No one could predict that. But he's been a gem for this team, and when Veron's been hurt and Veron's injured or carted off, I think he's got the starting position over him, for sure.
I think he does at this point. Veron was someone this team spent a lot of money on, and I think expected a heavy return on. Just hasn't been there yet. He's never really gotten himself settled in New York.
Yeah, he's still young. He's 25.
He's a player who at 25 is going to be coming into his prime probably in the next 2-3 years, that peak age, 25 to 30. Where you look, they still have some communication issues with him. Obviously, coming from Argentina, never playing outside of Argentina, he's still learning English. Being away from his family last year, I think he struggled with. And now injuries. Injuries have been a real problem for him this year, and then getting suspended. Yellow cards, that adds up. This is now Mike Grella's spot to lose. Another player who I was really impressed with last night, I call him the little buddy, Connor Lade. He's listed at they list him, I believe, at 5'5".
He's not 5'5".
I think on a good day, Connor Lade might be 5'2", 5'3". He's that tiny. But I tell you, he's got the heart of somebody who's 7 feet tall. The way he was throwing himself around in the 18, blocking shots yesterday, give him some credit there.
Yeah, Connor Lade's a warrior, and what I like about him is he not only gets up the pitch, but he comes back. I see a lot with Sal Zizzo, not to pick on him, but when he plays that right back position, he gets so far up the field, and he is such an attacking force on the wing there for fullback. But I feel like he's not getting back quick enough, and then we suffer on that right side.
I think it's difficult for a player like Zizzo too, who spent most of his career as a right-sided midfield player.
Yeah.
And now, he comes to Red Bull, and just through injuries, they said,
You're on D.
hey, do you know anything about this right back position? This guy's got a broken leg. This guy's out for the year. We need to move Wimette into the middle because Zubar is destroyed for the year. And Zizzo stepped in at right back last year. And for what it was worth, he did all right.
I kind of like him at right back.
He does have a propensity to push forward, and I think push forward maybe a little too far where he struggles to get back. But with the style that they're playing right now, you don't really see Jesse Marsch criticizing that because they are playing so high up the field. Yeah. And you see how just even yesterday with Seattle, who has a bit of a suspect defense this year, how they were able to really trap their center backs into bad positions where they were just, instead of playing to the feet of another player, they were having to try to loft balls over the top. And if you really don't have a world-class center back, who can send those balls forward, you see what happens. They're going this way, they're going off to the side. And that played right into Red Bull's hands, lands at the feet of one of your outside backs, and here you go, right up the field again.
Yeah, exactly. I think Zizzo, for the best comparison I can think of, he kind of plays like Fabian Johnson, how he does at left back, for the U.S. men's national team in Borussia Mönchengladbach, where they're getting up the pitch and really attacking, whipping the balls in through the corners and whatnot. So I as much as I like to criticize Sal Zizzo about going so far up the field, really in games like we saw against Seattle, it is really helpful. And about the center back pairings, what are your thoughts on the recent? They've been changing it all over the place. Zubar, Duval, Colin. It's been all over the place.
I think it's good to have the depth because it's going to get tested starting in the next week or so, if not already has, where they had. Open Cup league match, and then now you're going to have a couple days off, and then you come right back in with Open Cup league match, where you're going to start playing twice a week, where in England, whatever, it's no big deal. Everybody plays twice a week. You have 40 guys on your roster, especially in the Premier League, where you're paying $200 million to your team. You can do that and not blink. At this level, there's a salary cap. It's a hard cap for the most part. Where do you minus your designated players and your academy, this benefit, that, whatever. You're talking roughly $4 million for everybody. And to be able to have that depth, because you will get tested, because you'll have Open Cup League and then Champions League coming in the fall. I know it's only another 4 matches. But it's still right in the stretch run, coming down to the end of the season. You're going to have to take 2 trips to Central America, which are never fun. And to have the ability to rotate that without missing a beat is something that I think credit has to go to Jesse Marsch and his staff. And also to Ali Curtis to find players like Gideon Bah, Zubar.
Totally forgot about Gideon Bah.
And bring in a player like Aurelian Collin, who is, for all intents and purposes, he's a starter at every other team pretty much in this league, including, he probably should be starting here too, but they made an adjustment based on some matchups for yesterday. They needed somebody quicker in the middle rather than having 2 cement-footed center backs, if you want to say that, for Colin and Zubar. Inserting Duval at that other center back spot, took a little bit of that pressure off of Zubar and Zizzo, because at that point, if you line it up straight up across the back like that, Zizzo's not very fast, Colin's not very fast, Zubar's not very fast, and then that just leaves you Connor Lade, whereas now you have those 2 extra guys that you can rotate in
and it makes a big difference when if you need a couple speedier backs. Where a player like Duvall, he's still got a little bit of size to him, but he can win a foot race. Where a player like Zubar or Aurelian Collin is going to struggle to win that foot race. But to have 6, 7, and you figure, even it could go even further, defensively for Red Bull, because players like player like Carl Ouimet, didn't dress last night.
Yeah.
You have some younger players available in the back as well. Kamar Lawrence was out. Zach Carroll didn't play. Bill Yu didn't play. So you have, for Red Bull, it's a very envious position where you have 8 guys in the back. They're a little bit thinner in the midfield, I think, just looking at their roster. You have some unproven teenagers, an aging player in Sean Wright Phillips, the often injured Gonzalo Verón. So you really only have like 5 guys
Yeah.
in the middle of the park. But everybody has been able to really shoulder their load. But as far as the back, I like the depth.
What's your perfect back line for this team?
I don't know if there is one. I think
The mix is so well. Like, I feel like the chemistry from the beginning of the season, where I felt we had no depth in the back line, I really think they did their best to move players around. And I mean, beginning of the season, I would have never seen Duvall being a center back, and now he's a solid
Never.
option.
And he is
He's a solid option. At center
He
back.
has. He's turned into a pretty good player. I actually like him better inside than I did outside.
I think so too.
I think outside, just like Zizzo, he had a bit of a propensity to get forward a little bit too far.
Yeah.
Whereas at center back now he stays home a little bit more. And I think he's benefited from that, and being able now to play around guys like Collin, guys like Zubar, and let's not forget Damien Perenel has just begun training again. So this is now you're talking another back
Yeah.
that you can throw on out there. I don't know if there is a perfect pairing. I think if you have that ability, you can change based on your opponents. When you play NYCFC, they're an older team. They're not going to be as fast. David Villa is going to need to be shut down, preferably by some bigger bodies. You can line up, Collin and Zubar in the middle, and buffer that with Kamar Lawrence and Zizzo, or even put Duvall out back on the right again, and you have that matchup. Or if you need a faster player in the middle, you can slide those players all around, and it can make things work. I think the only players who really can't play in the middle out of the back are Connor Lade and Kamar Lawrence.
Yeah,
they're really outside players. Everybody else, Ouimet can play right or center. Zubar, Duvall, Collin, Perenel all can play in the middle. Boz obviously a center back. And now that he's back from injury, how do you fit him back into the lineup? But when you look at, here on Soccer Way, the last 5, and it's green, 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 and that means wins.
Yeah.
If the machine's not broken, don't fix it. And here in the last 5 games, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. That's how many goals their opposition has scored on.
A lot of shutouts.
That's a lot of shutouts in a row. They're now in second place in the East, behind the Philadelphia Union, who let a golden opportunity slip away in New York City on Saturday afternoon at Yankee Stadium. Lost 3-2 to NYCFC, who are now in third place in the Eastern Conference. If you told me that at the beginning of the season, I'd tell you no thanks. I don't believe it. But finally, I'd say for the first time since this team started playing last year, their big guns actually delivered.
All 3 DPs scored for the first time in MLS history. So that's, Frank Lampard, David Villa, and Andrea Pirlo. And I don't know if you caught the game, but beginning of the game, things weren't going so perfect. But then they just seemed to really gel together. And I think Lampard, as much hate as he's been getting recently through, MLS press and whatnot, I feel like he slowed the tempo down of the midfield, and him and Pirlo were a perfect pairing there. And then David Villa, what else can you say about him? He truly has the passion for this team. At the end of the game, I think it was 92nd minute, he's still calling for the ball to be punted to him. On the last corner kick of the game, NYCFC almost, ended the game with a draw because of how poorly defended. And he was actually really mad at the end of the game that his teammates almost, let up those 3 points into 1.
Yeah, you can't fall asleep, and that 3-0 lead almost evaporated. Alberg scored on a penalty kick. There was an own goal in the 88th minute, and then they had to really hang on late to try to get out of there. But again, 3 world-class players. I think you had mentioned this first time all 3 designated players for one team have ever scored in an MLS game.
Ever. Yeah.
And for New York City, if they're going to go far, you paying $17 million to these guys. Deliver.
Yeah.
You're paying that much money, deliver. And I know that, it's, again, with a salary cap, it really hinders what you can do. And it sounds like even the league hinders what you can do. Some players can go, we're not letting you move this player, or we're not going to approve that trade, or this or that. You got to work with what you have. But if you have those 3 players, and they're attack-minded, they have to shoulder the load. Right now, for New York City, if they can start to do that, they're not... they're not in a bad position. And when you look down the rest of this Eastern Conference, if you can separate 5-6 points from where you are to 7th place, you're looking at an Eastern Conference that's going to be over pretty soon. There's always those 5, 6, 7 spots, but the top teams, they've already separated 2 games out, and the East is never the most competitive. So if you start getting into that conference play, if you will, against other Eastern Conference teams, and you start picking up wins as Philly, New York City, you'll separate from the pack pretty quickly. Whereas in on the West Coast, I think the Western Conference is much tighter. Travel favors them coming east than it does east going west. I think that's always a bit of a knock on MLS too when they say the East is weak. It's not as talented as the West, I don't think, but you also have to factor that it is always easier to come from LA to New York and play an 8 o'clock game in New York because it's only 5 o'clock in LA than it is to go from New York to LA and play an 8 o'clock LA game when it's already 11 o'clock at night. And you're not flying charter. You're not flying out multiple days in advance. You're flying out maybe 48 hours before the game. Your body's just adjusting to the time difference, and you're playing and then on a plane the next morning. And you have to factor that into it. But New York City, that was a good win that they needed to keep pace in the Eastern Conference. Otherwise, they would have been out, right at the bottom of a playoff spot. And the difference between separating 1 point to 2 games is big.
Yeah, I mean, if you asked me 3 weeks ago who would have won between NYCFC and Philly, I would have said Philly every single time. Philadelphia has looked really strong this year from guys like Chris Pontius, who've been really stepping up.
He found himself.
Yeah, I mean, we said, months ago, it was probably April, you had me on the show as a guest, and you were saying, who should we watch out for Philly? And I was saying, I think Ilsinho is going to not really perform too well, and Chris Pontius is going to step up. And look at Chris Pontius. I mean, that's just luck, thankfully.
You were spot on.
That's
not luck. Luck.
Well, I remember all those games where DC United played the Red Bulls, and Chris Pontius used to just go off against us, scoring hat tricks and whatnot. So I know how good of a player he is, and he just needs the right guys around him. But, yeah, what can you say about Philly? CJ Sapong, they've been doing a great job over there.
We talked about it, like you said, early in the year.
I think it's an anomaly.
They needed CJ Sapong to step up, and he's delivered. He's got 5 goals on the season. They needed Chris Pontius to find the old Chris Pontius, the 2012 Chris Pontius. 5 goals in 15 games. He's seemingly on pace and found himself. And this is a team that's missing arguably their best player, Maurice Edu, a U.S. national team type guy, who's out injured, hasn't played 1 minute this whole season. And they've got some nice young players in the back too. Rosenberry, Marquez, Crevale, they've kind of patchworked together this defense of younger players. And Andre Blake in goal, Jamaican national team goalkeeper. He's been fantastic. They're coming into a major point of the season here where they're going to play 4 of 5 games at home, and 3 out of 4 are MLS games to end the month of June and begin the month of July. Home against Chicago, home against Vancouver, Red Bull in the Open Cup, at Houston, and home against DC United. Now, you're looking at the MLS table. Chicago, bottom of the East. That game's in Philadelphia. DC, they're struggling a little bit this year as well. That game in Philadelphia. You've got Houston, who's at the bottom of the Western Conference, and Vancouver, they're a mid-table team. So you look at this, this league stretch coming up, minus the Open Cup game against Red Bull, the opportunity to take 10 points if you're Philadelphia is out there. You know, if you can get, and it's a tall order again in MLS with the way the league structured, but can you go 3 wins and a draw for 10 points? Where does that put you? You know, how far does that separate you from Red Bull in New York if they don't keep pace?
Yeah, I mean, that raises a great point. I mean, the East is definitely wide open right now. I think this U.S. Open Cup game is really going to show, you know, who's really the king of the East right now. Is it Philly? Is it New York at this time? But not to steer away from your question, but if I'm Philadelphia right now, I would make a huge marketing push. This is the first time Philly's been good in what? When's the last time Philly's been good? Since Freddie Adu first came?
Since
No,
their
Freddie just
inception.
stuck there.
since their inception. I'd say this is the first time Philly has been good since their inception.
Yeah, so if I'm Philly, I would make a new badge. I'd start marketing in Philly a lot harder. That's what I would do. I know it's a little non-soccer related. It doesn't relate to your question at all. But that's what I would do if I'm Philly. I would really push this team. Hey, we're good now. We're the kings of the Eastern Conference. We're gonna be, you know, they're honestly the way they've been playing the past couple months.
They're contenders.
They're contenders for the MLS Cup for sure.
They are, you know, and I think a lot of that credit, obviously Jim Curtin and his staff, but Ernie Stewart. Hiring Ernie Stewart to be their general manager, if you will, their technical guy, changed the way the whole team, the whole organization ran. You brought in a guy who played in Europe, who managed an organization, you know, at that same capacity in Europe and the Netherlands, and he's applying those same principles that they used in the Netherlands in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And his contacts to be able to bring in players like Barnetta, Ilsinho, he didn't really work out.
Barnetta was a much better signing.
But you bring in these types of players over the last 2 years, then you get Chris Pontius, and the atmosphere suddenly changes in Philadelphia. And I think there's a lot more organization. There's a lot more optimism. They've got Bethlehem Steel up and off the ground. Yes, you know they're in 10th place.
They're getting lights too.
This isn't the Bethlehem Steel of old.
No.
They would not be happy with this probably incarnation of Bethlehem Steel. If they saw them, they'd say we could beat you. But
yeah.
Nevertheless, you know, I think it's important that the Union came up here and established their reserve team here in the Lehigh Valley. There's always been a bit of a semi-pro presence here over the years. The Stoners into the Sonic, the Bucksmont Torch. There's always Reading United. It's always been kind of around. Some of the teams have been loosely affiliated with the Philadelphia Union over the years. But for the Union to really try to make this area theirs is an important piece of the puzzle, and it's even more so than the results. It's a place for their youngsters to get time. They're teenage kids. They're the guys who just came out of college. It's an opportunity for them to play at a professional level in front of people, train every day, play every week. The Union seemingly, and again, I know it's one part of one season. They seem to be kind of pulling it all together right now.
Yeah, I really like Bethlehem Steel. I actually applied for an internship. I didn't say that. Before I started interning at CWTAP. But aside from that, I do like their lineup.
It's because our lunch package is better.
Yeah,
isn't it?
you guys
That's
have
it.
the best
we have a good lunch
package on the East Coast.
That's right.
Here. But no, I really like Bethlehem Steel's lineup. You got guys like Walter Restrepo and Leo Fernandez. They played great last year for the Cosmos. You have Akinyode, who you remember was at the Red Bulls for a little bit. And it's a strong lineup. It's just things. It's the first couple of years are always going to be hard.
Oh yeah, you have to pull it together.
Yeah, they're trying to glue everything together, and I think I'm hoping in 5 years, Bethlehem Steel will have a much bigger presence in the entire Lehigh Valley area, because a lot of people out here, I feel like, don't even know they're there.
I think that's one of the biggest issues. Is a lot of folks, just don't know the team is there, and I think that was something JJ, he'll tell you. Dave Weitzman, when we were doing stuff with the Sonic with WGPA, the biggest question was, how do we get more people to know we're here, that we're a part of the community, that we're a team in the area. We did it through ticket giveaways on the radio.
Yeah.
For every home game, we gave away 10 tickets, I think it was, 15 tickets, 20 tickets, something like that, a bunch of pairs of tickets. And we didn't just do it in one show on, like, it's Jack's Sports Show on a Saturday. We gave it away on the morning show. We gave it away on the lunchtime polka show. We gave it away on the big band show on the night. We gave it away on Saturday afternoons, Sunday afternoons. We just did it across the board to try to get as many different groups of people coming to their games as we possibly could. Maybe that's something that Bethlehem Steel might need to look at. The union might need to look at. Say, hook up with a place like us. Or any of these, radio, TV stations and do a giveaway. And, fifth caller, first person to correctly identify the leading goal scorer of the old Bethlehem Steel, something like that. Where did the old Bethlehem Steel play? Some kind of giveaway. The answer is the Steel Field Complex at Moravian. If that's ever the question, you're paying attention at home, that's the answer.
Yeah, write that one down.
Write that one down.
But I think that's really important to get these kind of local, almost like guerrilla advertising, I think they call it, where you go out to these, TV stations and the local TV stations and places like WGPA of then, and you say, hey, here's whatever 20 tickets. Try to give these away. Hey, here's 10
we
tickets.
never had tickets sitting around.
Yeah,
we never had tickets sitting around. And sometimes people would call up when we do our giveaways on game day or the day before a game. If it was a Saturday game, we'd try to go Thursday, Friday to give them away, and then whatever was left on Saturday, we'd really push hard before our broadcasts. But there would be people who you would never think would call up to want, and even if we're giving them away for free, this person's never going to call. They're not. I don't think they're a soccer fan. They'll call up. Oh yeah, we'll take our grandkids. It'll be great. And that's all it takes.
Yeah,
that's all it takes. You bring the family. You bring your kids, your grandkids. You bring the family out, and all of a sudden, it could be a season ticket holder.
Yeah, we stressed that in another show. We give away all these festival tickets and whatnot for teams would be great too. And we stressed a couple weeks ago about the importance of your local soccer team and how inexpensive it is. Has such a great time. The kids will have so much fun.
Yep.
If we can get in contact with these teams, or the teams can get in contact with us, I think it would be the start to the Bethlehem Steel.
Yeah, I think it could help them. Time to take a pause for the cause. It's 8:30. We do have to pay some bills, and again, I know there are a lot of folks who are looking tonight for the Echoes of Europe, but we had to meet Maynard and his staff at the College Hill Tavern for dinner and talk about their advertisement. So let's take a pause for the cause. We're going to pay some bills, and then we'll be back with more of the Corner Kick. We're going to talk about Copa America, Euro, Europa, and Champions League draw, and that'll probably take us up until 9 o'clock, so keep it tuned. Hang loose!
College Hill Tavern, located at 420 Cattell Street in Easton, is more than just your neighborhood bar, it's an Easton tradition. Whether you're off to Fisher Field to watch Lafayette or simply passing through town, stop by the College Hill Tavern, where the Milham family serves some of the best food, drink, and company around. The College Hill Tavern is a museum for Lehigh Valley sports fans, so you always have an opportunity to talk about local high school, college, or professional sports with your fellow patrons. The College Hill Tavern offers a full menu as well as 10 beers on tap with an extensive selection of bottled domestic, imported, and craft brews. If beer isn't your thing, the College Hill Tavern has a fine wine list and wide variety of other liquors. The College Hill Tavern is open 7 days a week from 12 noon until 2 a.m. with food served until midnight daily. Visit the College Hill Tavern online at cht.bar or call them at 610-829-5470. That's 610-829-5470. Better yet, stop by the College Hill Tavern at 420 Cattell Street in Easton today and experience this Lehigh Valley tradition personally. The Barnyard Market, located on Route 100 between Macungie and Shimersville, has served the gardening needs of Lehigh Valley residents for many years. At the Barnyard Market, you will find a wide variety of garden plants, hanging baskets, lawn furniture and decorations, firewood, mulch, farm fresh eggs, garden tools, and more. The Barnyard Market prides itself on stocking seasonal local produce as well as fresh jarred products directly from Pennsylvania Dutch Country. The Barnyard Market is open Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. You can call the Barnyard at 610-966-2341. That's 610-966-2341. Be sure to visit their website at www.thebarnyardmarket.com Or even better, stop by the Barnyard Market on Route 100 between Macungie and Shimersville and view their plants, produce, lawn ornaments, and more personally. Don't forget to let Bubber and his staff know that you saw their commercial on CWTAP television. Be it spring, summer, or fall, the Barnyard has it all. Antonio's Pizza and Ice Cream, located in the 25th Street Shopping Center, just off Route 22 in Easton, has been serving up some of the finest pizzas, subs, traditional Italian dinners, and desserts in the Lehigh Valley for decades. With over a dozen different types of pizza, calzones, and strombolis, 22 different combinations of hot and cold subs, an extensive list of Italian entrees, Antonio's has something for the whole family to enjoy. And don't forget to save room for the Hershey's ice cream for dessert. Antonio's Pizzeria and Ice Cream is open Monday through Saturday, beginning at 11 a.m. and are closed on Sunday. Antonio's delivers to much of the greater Easton area, so you can even have their delicious dishes brought right to your doorstep. Give them a call to place an order for pickup or to find out if Antonio's delivers to your neighborhood by calling Antonio's Pizzeria and Ice Cream at 610-250-9811. That's 610-250-9811. Antonio's Pizzeria and Ice Cream in the 25th Street Shopping Center in Easton.
Over the past few years, I reached the point where I struggled to do any activities that required two hands. I was embarrassed by my shaking. After speaking with my neurologist, I chose St. Luke's Movement Disorder Center. They have over a decade of experience successfully treating Parkinson's disease and essential tremor. This is my programmer. It allows me to turn my device on and off. This is me when I'm turned off. It was challenging to even get a glass of water. This is me when my device is turned on. I was apprehensive to have DBS surgery, but I was more concerned about missing my window of opportunity. I'm enjoying life again because DBS has restored my independence.
DBS therapy requires brain surgery that may include serious complications such as coma, bleeding inside the brain, seizures, and infection. Medtronic DBS therapy may cause worsening of some motor symptoms associated with your movement disorder and may cause speech and language impairments. If you or a loved one suffers from Parkinson's disease or essential tremor, call to find out more about DBS therapy.
The 67th Annual Kutztown Folk Festival is coming and offers plain old family fun. For more details on this 9-day celebration, visit kutztownfestival.com. There's plenty of fun for folks of all ages. Come and eat until you ouch! See the nation's largest quilt sale and auction. Chat with some of the country's finest crafters and enjoy wonderful good entertainment. The Kutztown Folk Festival, July 2nd through July 10th.
Antonio's Pizza and Ice Cream, located in the 25th Street Shopping Center, just off Route 22 in Easton, has been serving up some of the finest pizzas, subs, traditional Italian dinners, and desserts in the Lehigh Valley for decades. With over a dozen different types of pizza, calzones, and strombolis, 22 different combinations of hot and cold subs, an extensive list of Italian entrees, Antonio's has something for the whole family to enjoy. And don't forget to save room for the Hershey's ice cream for dessert. Antonio's Pizzeria and Ice Cream is open Monday through Saturday, beginning at 11 a.m. and are closed on Sunday. Antonio's delivers to much of the greater Easton area, so you can even have their delicious dishes brought right to your doorstep. Give them a call to place an order for pickup or to find out if Antonio's delivers to your neighborhood by calling Antonio's Pizzeria and Ice Cream at 610-250-9811. That's 610-250-9811. Antonio's Pizzeria and Ice Cream in the 25th Street Shopping Center in Easton. The College Hill Tavern, located at 420 Cattell Street in Easton, is more than just your neighborhood bar. It's an Easton tradition. Whether you're off to Fisher Field to watch Lafayette or simply passing through town, stop by the College Hill Tavern, where the Milham family serves some of the best food, drink, and company around. The College Hill Tavern is a museum for Lehigh Valley sports fans, so you always have an opportunity to talk about local high school, college, or professional sports with your fellow patrons. The College Hill Tavern offers a full menu as well as 10 beers on tap with an extensive selection of bottled domestic, imported, and craft brews. If beer isn't your thing, the College Hill Tavern has a fine wine list and wide variety of other liquors. The College Hill Tavern is open 7 days a week from 12 noon until 2 a.m. with food served until midnight daily. Visit the College Hill Tavern online at cht.bar or call them at 610-829-5470. That's 610-829-5470. Better yet, stop by the College Hill Tavern at 420 Cattell Street in Easton today and experience this Lehigh Valley tradition personally.
All right, we're back here on the corner kick. Alex Fidrishevsky and Bobby Celentano with you.
Sorry,
And,
I'm laughing.
we're having a good laugh here. Bobby asked me about promotion and relegation in the break, and he goes,
In the Polish leagues.
Poland does that, right? I said, yeah, we have the 8th division, and you can go on YouTube. I'll even post the link one day on Twitter. There's this guy. He goes around Poland and he videotapes all of the worst that happens in our wonderful 8th division. And it is the beer league of beer leagues. The drunken referees calling the match before the 90th minute
That's
because they don't want to
hilarious.
stay. It's in Polish, so if you're not like me, then it's going to be a little difficult to understand some of the jokes that the guy says. But if you just watch the videos, it is like your dream come true. If you ever wanted to watch the most ridiculous soccer videos in your life, it is definitely Ósma Liga Mistrzów. It is hilarious. But it is all about the bottom division of Polish soccer.
Yeah.
And there's a team that's actually sponsored and run and played by nightclub employees in Warsaw.
Oh, wow.
So that's part of this as well. It's really, really funny. I get a real kick out of it. But how about those commercials? You did a great job with them.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we
Gotta
had to show
give
him
credit.
twice because the pro rail talk just kept going on and on.
That's right.
And
Got to
actually,
give credit.
The first time I met Alex in person, he was like, "What are your thoughts on the New Zealand soccer?" And I was like,
That's right.
what?"
I go for the jugular.
Yeah, he goes-
I
he
want to
goes-
know. I want to know how knowledgeable my guests
I was
and
like,
co-hosts are going to be.
I'm like, I'm not really sure. And you're like, you didn't watch last night's big game? And I was like, I saw you tweeting about it. I was like,
That's
where
right.
are you?
Auckland City against
I don't get
Team
that channel.
Wellington.
Yeah, I don't get
In the
that channel.
the OFC Champions League final, Auckland City versus Team Wellington. Pick that stream up off my computer and put it on the nice
Yeah.
60-inch TV.
We'll have to show
downstairs.
some on CWTAP.
That's right. Hey,
Legally, we can.
I give Auckland City a lot of credit because I reached out to them for my very first show, and we had phone troubles here because some mishaps here. Actually, it was just miscommunication. Jeff had thought we had this international calling plan for the station because we had set this up as an interview with the general manager of Auckland City to call us when they were in Japan for the Club World Cup.
Yeah.
And turns out that that wasn't the case, and he had thought, and rightfully so. He goes, never thought about it. If they told us we had the Cadillac package.
Yeah.
So we couldn't get through to them, but Gordon Watson still provided us, even though we couldn't get through. He real quick went on his computer, emailed us some videos that we got to run of interviews with their player, with their players, with their assistant coach Ivan Viselic, with their head coach Ramon Trubaluch, and it was fantastic. They were great to us.
Yeah.
And now that we have the phone systems fixed here, I'd love to have him on
That'd be amazing.
to talk about it.
That'd be amazing.
And I know I'm trying to make light of it that oh my God, what would you know about soccer all the way around the world, but it's
Auckland's not bad.
It's
Auckland's
a
not a
global
bad
game.
team.
It's a global game. You got to know a little bit about everybody around the world. Now, I've taken an interest in that team specifically. The fact that they're basically a pro side in a semi-pro league.
Yeah, there's like every other team's semi-pro.
Every other team is basically amateur or semi-professional, and here they are rolling out like Serbian ringers and players
That's
who
the
used to
word,
play
ringers,
in Croatia. They had one guy who played in the Austrian Bundesliga last year who's moved on. It's really a fascinating team. If you ever look them up, Auckland City FC, Google them. They've got a great history, and they're pretty successful. They're probably more successful than the Wellington Phoenix are in the A-League, but that's neither here nor there. I could go on about all of those interesting
Yeah, we
leagues.
should probably talk about Copa.
Or the Tajik League. We can talk about the leading scorer
Yeah, let's
in
go
Tajikistan.
on that for the entire show.
Rob here, he has to do assigned readings as part of his internship with us for the summer. So part of the research I gave him for this week is I wanted to know who the leading scorer in the 2016 Tajik Premier League was. I really wanted to see how deep he could dig, and he was able to come up with this information. The player plays for Istiklal in Tajikistan. His name is Manukcheker Jahilov. I swear, look it up. Look, Google the Tajik League. It's Manukcheker
22 goals, right?
Jahilov. He has 10 goals. He is currently the leading scorer in the Tajik League. Thank you very much. See, this is why he's going to get an A. He's doing a great job.
The only reason I'm interning is to know Tajik League stats.
You never know when you're going to need to know who the leading scorer in the Tajik
Yeah.
League is, because,
Who wants to be a millionaire? That's the final
that's
question.
right. That's going to be the final question.
Yeah.
Who's the leading scorer in the Tajik
And I bet a
League?
lot of people wouldn't get it if it was like MLS or like English Premier League.
But you're going to get that when
But
it's the
yeah,
Tajik
when
League.
it's Tajik, I'll be ready.
But let's get back. Let's get back on point here for the last 20 minutes or so, because we'll just keep going. And that's never a good thing. Copa America. Let's focus on that. Then we'll go to Europa League, and Champions League if we have time.
Yeah, for sure.
The next 2 days are going to be really interesting, I think. United States and Argentina. I'm going to go with the, hey, we're playing with house money. Whatever happens, happens. I'm not banking on us winning that game. Crazier things have happened. But with the way Argentina has looked for the most part thus far, I'm figuring that we'll be playing in the third place match in Glendale on the 25th. I know you've taken a much more positive view of this.
Yeah, real quick, I messaged JJ at the Soccer Yank on Twitter. He's always in the number 2 chair with us, but not this week. I messaged him what his prediction was. He says 4-2 Argentina. So, of course, I don't want it to be a unison panel. I had to go with 1-0 U.S., and if that happens, I'll just sign off from then on out. I would be amazed if that happened. 1-0 U.S. That's my prediction.
If the United States wins 1-0, you should be the new morning man on Sirius XM.
Let's
at that
get
point,
in contact with them.
forget Chris Berman and the NFL. You are the real Swami.
Yeah.
If you can
See me
pull
on
that
ESPN
prediction right, you are the man.
I expect a lot of tweets if I get that right.
I think that we
be
have,
like 4-0 Argentina.
I think we owe you we owe you a nice dinner at the College Hill Tavern if you get that one right.
Lunch was very good today, or it was dinner.
It was. I guess it was like an early dinner at the College Hill Tavern. That was good. We had a good time over there. Fries are real good. If you ever get a chance, head on over there, 420 Cattell Street in Easton. Maynard Melhem and his family, they serve up some of the best food drinking company around, and everybody's shaking your hand, saying hello. Maynard loved the commercial.
Everyone knows each other. Alex walks in. He's kind of like a local legend of sorts.
Oh, I am not a local legend. Stop it.
Everywhere we go, everyone's like, Alex.
Oh,
who's this kid? I'm just
he's too kind. But again, I think the United States has done a very, very good job in this tournament. And this year, it's been a pretty successful year. There were some rocky moments, and we went down to Central America and really got embarrassed. But we've bounced back from that. And for the better part of last year too, November went well. The January camp went about as well as you could ask for. Again, it's largely a domestic group of fringe players, but they did a good job. And then we really ramped it up. The meaningless friendly against Puerto Rico, which I take nothing from. Beat Ecuador, beat Bolivia, stumbled against Colombia, and really have been solid since.
A lot of green.
Beat Ecuador again. You go by red and green on Wikipedia or Soccer Way. There's a lot of green this year for the United States men's national team. You only have 2 losses this year, and you're guaranteed another 2 games in Copa America. And for me, whether we win them, lose them, tie, lose on penalty kicks, however it goes, we have to be building for September. Because we're not yet completely out of the woods. We need a result in at least one, preferably both, of those matches. The faster we get that result, beat St. Vincent, hope Trinidad stumbles a little bit, then we don't have to worry the last game. But you got to build towards those 2 games in 4 days in September. And for the United States, I think we've kind of found our stride again.
Yeah.
And we stumbled last year. The Gold Cup, that was pretty rough. I mean, we finished 4th, but I think we didn't look good against Jamaica. We didn't look good against Panama. Brazil really took us to the woodshed the day before my birthday last year.
Great present.
Yes, very great present. And then Mexico just out hustled us in extra time. To in the CONCACAF, the playoff. And then that Costa Rica friendly a couple days later. Again, that was one of those. I think everybody was so down after Mexico, it was tough to get up for the national team. But they're all right this year. I think a lot of talk has been thrown at Jurgen Klinsmann, and if you go through Twitter, I'm a big proponent of Jurgen Klinsmann as our national team coach right now.
One of the few, sadly, right
Probably one of the few, but I try to look at it from a practical standpoint, of a logical standpoint of if we were getting blasted out of these games this year, going into World Cup qualifying, if we got bounced in the group stage of Copa America, you could start to really legitimize that talk. If we lost games in the run-up, if we lost to Ecuador, we lost to Bolivia, we got bounced in the group stage, and in a bad manner, you could start to say, well, maybe the clock has run out on Jurgen Klinsmann. And for me, this year, I don't think that. I think you have to stay the course with this guy, and you're also dealing with an interesting player pool right now where there's not really a lot of dynamic players in their prime. Your best player is 33 years old. Your my age players, your age players, because again, you're younger than me. Mm. The 20, 21, 22-year-old guys have boatloads of potential. There is a lot of talent in that group. The older guys also have Jermaine Jones, Kyle Beckerman, Clint Dempsey, Michael Bradley starting. Oh God, I can't believe I'm starting to say this. Yeah, Michael Bradley and I are about out of prime. But Bradley, that middle age group, that 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, there's nobody there. Michael Bradley's 28. He's about to turn 29. That means I'm going to turn 29 too. But in that middle group, that coming into their prime, there's this hole for the national team where there's not a lot there. Darlington Nagbe, I know a lot of people have said, oh, he's breaking into the national team. Darlington Nagbe's soccer old.
Is he like 25?
He's 25. He is getting to the point where he is going to be soccer old.
And he's still being talked about like he's this young up-and-coming player.
Right. He's athlete young, but he's soccer old. Perry Kitchen is 24, just starting to break in. As a defensive midfielder, you have a little bit longer shelf life. Nagbe, as an attacking midfielder, it's not going to be as long with the national team. But that's still not to say that there's anything else there. You look in the back, you're talking it's either 22, 23, Yedlin, Brooks, or you're at 30. Cameron, Orozco, those guys like that are starting to get to that point where there's not going to be a lot of life left. You get one more cycle out of those guys, and Jones, Beckerman, Dempsey, Wondolowski, they'll get you to the World Cup.
Yeah.
They may not be there. They may not be there in 2018. They'll get you there. But do you want to roll the dice at that point? And this is going to be a question for Jurgen Klinsmann, too. And that's not to say I'm 100% with him. This is going to be a question. They'll get you there. They will. They'll get you there. But do you want to take 1, 2, 3, 4, at least, minimum, 4 36-year-olds, 35, 36-year-olds to the World Cup?
I don't think he does.
That's that's a tall order. It's just like even with Guatemala, they're not gonna make it. But they asked Carlos Ruiz after the Bermuda World Cup qualifier, what would it be like to play in the World Cup at 39 or something? And he said, if we somehow get that far, I'm not gonna be there. I can help get us there, but I'm not going to make it to the World Cup. My legs are going to fall off at that point. But I think that's going to be a question the United States will have to ask itself moving forward. But, Copa America, we are playing with house money now.
The last 3 games, the U.S. the lineup's just been really reliable. He kept it consistent, which I like to see, and now they can build off these for the games like Argentina, when Bobby Wood's gone, Jermaine Jones is gone, Bedoya is gone. Now they have that structure built, and now it's just filling in the holes. I felt like everyone played really well. That Brooks-Cameron center back pairing is the best I've ever seen for the U.S. men's national team. Yedlin's going to be back, and then, it's just building up from there. So I think we're going to see Graham Zusi probably fill in, probably Kyle Beckerman, and then who do you have at striker going to be filling in, right?
Oh, I don't know.
Question.
I don't know if I would run another striker.
Do you change the formation? I feel like the formation's been running great.
It's a tough spot because you're going to play the very best, most dynamic player of a generation.
Yeah.
hands down. I know a lot of folks will try to argue between him and Cristiano Ronaldo. Lionel Messi is the most dynamic player of this generation. There's no questions asked that's what it is.
You're saying bunker down.
Do you bunker down, play one striker, and go with either a 4-5-1 or a 5-4-1, and try to just hunker in and defend like hell and
park the bus like Chelsea.
Park the bus and hope you can get out? The odds are against Argentina, it's like if you do it against Barcelona. For 60 minutes, you might. For 70 minutes, you might. But in the 75th, 80th, 85th minute, they're going to get one. Then they're going to get a second one. Then the floodgates are going to open, and before you know it, it's 4-0.
Yeah.
So, or do you just play it? Do you play it straight? You press high, you go after them, you take your chances.
Wow, what would that be like? Dempsey scoring in like the 4th minute.
And if you go down swinging, it's going to be 6 of one or half a dozen of the other in this game. I don't think there's a right formation. There's not. I don't think. You hunker down and hope Messi doesn't beat you, or you play wide open and hope Messi doesn't beat you. That's what this is going to come down to. And the odds are Messi's probably going to beat you.
Yeah.
99.9 times out of 100, Messi's going to beat you. Is this the 1/10 of a time? That's the only thing you can say for the United States. I just don't think it is. You never know.
It's not even being pessimistic. It's being realistic.
I don't think it's pessimistic. I think it's realistic. I think we're playing with house money at this point. We've played as well as we could have played in this tournament with a national team talent pool that actually I really don't think, in terms of its prime age players, the guys in that 24 to 29 range, is that good. There's just not a lot there. We've brought, minus a couple injuries with Josie out the door, Aaron Johansson, that would have given us a little more bite up top. That's what we got. This is our best team. You roll out what you can and hope that you get through. And if you're in the final and you're coming to the Meadowlands to play in East Rutherford on the 26th, then hey, you win.
Argentina isn't. They can be beat. I remember the U.S. plays some of their best soccer when they're completely ignored and they're definitely going to lose. I remember U.S. versus Netherlands, I think was a friendly a year ago. The U.S. won it. In the last minute, they won the game. And everyone was like...
And then turned around and beat Germany in Germany.
Yeah. So this team knows how to play these superstar teams.
Yeah,
I'm not saying U.S. is going to win, even though that's my prediction.
Yeah, I don't want to say that from a negative perception. I just, realistically, I don't think our chances are that good. But you have to also remember, even if we lose, this isn't over. We're going to get the third place game no matter what. So you still have one more
Chile or Colombia, right?
Nice hurdle to try to get over. And wouldn't it be nice? Let's say we do lose. It'd be nice to get another crack at Colombia to try to even the score for the group stage.
Yeah.
You even it up, you see what happens.
Speaking of, I said Chile, Mexico, 7-0. And I know you have a story, because you told me a little bit ago, a while back actually, what it feels like to be down in a game 7-0. I feel like not a lot of people know what that feels like.
You want me to go back to high school here?
Not just 7-0 too, right?
Well, we're really going. Excuse me one second. I do have to plug in my computer. We're running out of time. We're going to go a little bit of overtime here, but I'm going to plug in here and see if I can power back up. But yeah, you really want me to go down that route? Fine. We're in high school and we're playing Lakewood, and I'm a senior. We're hanging in there that year. It was one of our better years. And it is the day after the homecoming dance.
Oh.
I didn't go out because I knew we had to be at school at 7:30 to go down to Lakewood. About half our team went out the night before, though.
Sounds like high school kids.
Yeah, pretty much. Sounds like high school kids. And when it was 6-0, 10 minutes into the game, it just kept snowballing from there. It got so bad. This is probably my lowest point as a soccer player in my life, where our coach actually asked the coach of Lakewood High School and the official if there was a way we could stop the game without finishing it. It was that bad.
What was the scoreline?
Somewhere around 14 was when they stopped it. Now, mind you, again, we were in bad my senior year. We had a very competitive side, and it just all came crashing down in one ugly performance.
Blame homecoming.
Yeah, right. Thankfully, I didn't start that game in net. My buddy Lou did. And after the sixth goal, it's 6-0, 10 minutes in the game. He takes his gloves off, starts walking to the sidelines, throws them at the bench, and goes, "Alex, you play the rest of the game. I'm not doing it." Our coach is like, "Lou, what are you doing? You were supposed to start today." He goes, "I'm not playing anymore."
That happened to me freshman year of soccer.
And we, I went in, played the rest of the game, and talk about getting left hanging. I gave up another 4 or 5, and then they went to our third. We were fortunate enough to have 3 goalies. They put the other one in for the last 2 or 3, and then that was that. But yeah, I can relate to that, thumping loss where just the floodgates open in an instant, and you can't stop them. Mexico looked bad in the first half. Mexico looked abysmal in the second half. The first half was rough enough to go 2-0, but when you come out and just roll over, and I think credit to Chile, though. That team is loaded for bear. They are very talented. I think that, they are up there. I don't know if they can beat Colombia and Argentina back to back, but I certainly think that they can beat Colombia, get to the final. And then they face the same situation, though. They have some better midfielders, but they still have to no matter what, you're gonna have to hunker down against Argentina.
Yeah.
Unless you want to, or you take your swing and play wide open. You can't try to say like, well, we'll be cautious here in the first half and then we'll react. No, at that point you could be down 2-3-0, game be over. You have to try and commit, I think, and I know it's an all or nothing proposition. You either go all in or all out. You're either all in and you're defending like hell, or you're all out and you are playing wide open and you're pressing high, trying to force their backs into making mistakes.
Yeah.
Those are your 2 options for me.
Yeah. And actually, I don't think I was in 9th grade when my team lost like 7-0 while I was in net. I remember I was like crying. But that's a side note. Looking forward, USA, Argentina, tomorrow night at 9 o'clock. That's going to be an amazing game. So even if you're watching and you're not a soccer fan,
root for your country.
Yeah, root for your country. It's going to be a great one. I mean, they might lose like no tomorrow, but it's going to be a really great game.
It'll be good, yeah. If nothing more, throw it on for the first half and see how we're doing. If we're still hanging in, only down 1-0, or it's 1-1, something like that, keep watching. If for no other reason, folks, again, I know a lot of our viewers, maybe soccer's not your thing. Just root for the country tomorrow. It's us. It's the U.S., red, white, and blue. Watch the players hold their hand over their chest, sing the national anthem, and stand up at home and sing it with them.
Yeah.
And just hope for the best. Say a prayer and hope for the best. That's all. That's all you can do. The Euros are still winding down their group stage this week. They'll wind that up over the course of the next, I believe it's 2-3 days. Russia was eliminated today. They were abysmal. I tell you, they were bad.
We watched it. We watched some of it.
For a team that played pretty well in qualifying, they just don't have it on the big stage. They struggle in the World Cup. They struggled here. You'll have a big day tomorrow. There's 4 games, I believe, tomorrow, 2 in the afternoon and 2
Poland plays
after that. That's right, Polska Jutro. That's right, Poland tomorrow, baby. Poland against the Ukraine, and Germany against Northern Ireland. The odds are pretty good that no matter what, Germany, Poland, Northern Ireland all have a good shot to advance. Amazingly, Northern Ireland has been one of the surprises of this tournament.
Yeah, they took out Ukraine 2-0 in week 2.
Ukraine, another one really struggling offensively. 2012 was kind of the end for the Ukraine as a power, I think. Some of those older players, those legends, Andrei Shevchenko specifically up top, they haven't found somebody. Yarmolenko and Konoplyanka are fantastic out on the outside, but they still don't have that goal-scoring threat in the middle for them. That said, I am not going into tomorrow's game with any type of confidence at all. Poland plays like crap, for lack of better term, against the Ukraine. They're just garbage. They play like garbage against the Ukraine. They always have. I don't know why. We play badly, and I know Poland's been pretty impressive thus far in this tournament, and specifically Poznan at center back. He's made me eat my words from 2 weeks ago, because I said to both of you and JJ on the air that my two biggest worries were Mączyński in the middle from Wisła Kraków, because he had been injured all year, and Poznan from Legia Warsaw at center back, because I just don't think the extra class of the Polish league is that strong. And against Germany, Poznan looked like he was the best defender on the planet. I guess maybe the guy just doesn't want to play in Warsaw anymore, because
curse.
You know, if you're Legia right now and you're their owner, there's two things going on. One, you're panicking because you're going to lose him. If he has one more really good game, there will be an offer from Germany in the Bundesliga or something like that for him. But at the same time, you're sitting there going, "Have one more good game, then I make lots of money on you." So you know, it's a bit of a catch-22 for them. But he has been probably one of the best defenders in the whole tournament. I'm biased, but as far as his play in the first two games, he has been absolutely fantastic. Then you've got
Poland's got it. I think it's 3-0 Poland.
Yeah, right. Have you seen?
I see it.
Have you
I see
seen
it
the
happen.
way Arkadiusz Milik does not finish?
I watched the Northern Ireland game.
The
And
guy
Ukraine
scores.
did not look good.
The guy scores left and right for Ajax. Can't hit the broadside of the barn for the national team. He's like Kyle Larin.
We'll see when we talk together next
you know,
Monday.
Larin scores all the time for Orlando.
Yeah, and then Canada.
You put him in, for Le Rouge, the ball's into the 20th row.
Yeah.
Also coming up here, you got Czech Republic, Turkey, and Croatia, Spain. That's a juicy one for me. I'm going to be watching that one.
Yeah, that is going to be probably one of the best games tomorrow. I'm actually really excited to watch Poland, Ukraine, and even Turkey. I really like Turkey, but that's just because I'm like a huge fangirl of Çalhanoğlu, from the Bundesliga and Bayer Leverkusen. But yeah, Croatia, Spain, that's definitely the headline game for tomorrow. Who do you think's going to win? I wouldn't be surprised if Croatia
be surprised.
won.
I'm going to edge Spain slight favorite, but I will say this. I wouldn't be surprised if the Croatians did win tomorrow.
Iniesta's been playing amazing.
They have enough talent where they could do it. Especially in the midfield with players like Modric and Rakitic. They're at that level.
Yeah.
I'm going to edge favor slight to Spain, but I'm not going to say that Croatia's out of it. 2 days from now, Italy, Ireland. I like Italy's chances.
Italy!
I like them. I think Italy beats them. Sweden, Belgium will be another nice game. And then Group F. And then we'll wrap up real quick with the Europa and Champions League draws, and then we're out of here. I know it's been a little bit of extra time, but that's all right. We had a nice 7-minute break of all local sponsors, so we're pretty fortunate here at CWTAP that we've got a lot of local
Antonio's
businesses
Pizza,
coming on.
College Hill
Antonio's
Tavern,
Pizza, College Hill Tavern, Kutztown
Barnard
Folk
Market.
Festival, St. Luke's University Health Network. If you ever come in through the Lehigh Valley, if you're out of town, and something, God forbid, happens, St. Luke's University Health Network is the place for you. They've got 6 hospitals in the region and some of the finest physicians anywhere in the country. And I'm not just saying that because they're a sponsor. Whenever I've had a problem here in the Lehigh Valley, whether it was in college and I broke my hand playing basketball, or had a reaction to a bee sting when I was a Moravian, of all things. I know it sounds stupid. I got stung by a bee at school. Didn't even think anything of it. Just went, took a shower, came out. I didn't have a shirt on. And my roommate goes, dude, we got to take you to the hospital. Something's wrong. And, he showed me in the mirror. My back was blown up like this. He goes, where are we going to go? We went to the campus safety people. They said, you're going to St. Luke's. Took me right there.
St. Luke's is excellent.
Within 20 minutes, they had me in and out, and everything was fine.
They're
and
excellent.
I tell you, I will personally vouch and endorse St. Luke's University Health Network. They have been absolutely fantastic to me. Over the years, and not just again with sponsorships, but with treatment as well. They've been fantastic. A lot of people I know have gone to St. Luke's. A lot of our viewers have gone to St. Luke's. It's really, really first class.
And can't forget the Barnyard Market.
And the Barnyard Market. That's right. Bubber and his fine staff out there on Route 100. Bobby did all the commercial work. He did a great job. Last group is Hungary, Iceland, Portugal, Austria. JJ said Portugal was going to choke, and Portugal has choked thus far. And they are now going into a match against Hungary where they probably have to win. If they don't win, they're probably out of this tournament. Go figure, right? JJ, I know you're watching at home. You're right, man. You were right.
Anything he says is just, it's always predicted correctly, so...
Yep, he was right. So I think, we'll have a lot more to analyze next week. The knockout stages will start on the 25th, so we won't get another showing before that. 25th, 26th, 27th is when England will play and Italy will play on the 27th. So we'll have a lot to analyze. We'll talk about it during the Bucksmont game a little bit more because we'll know by Wednesday who's going to be going where. So make sure you catch the Bucksmont Torch game. That'll air Thursday. It'll be 5 o'clock Thursday, 11 o'clock Thursday, and then again 5 o'clock on Friday. We'll have the replay of the Bucksmont Torch game. We'll be down there on Wednesday night in Percy. If you're not doing anything, come on down. Penridge High School, Percy, Pennsylvania, NPSL Soccer.
It's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun. It's only $5 to get in. Bring your family, bring your kids, bring your grandkids. These local teams are the future of the game in this country. You never know where the next big star is going to come from. And I'll tell you, we didn't talk about it. Bucksmont Torch, their best player last year, Sachem Wilson, played at Liberty University. Sachem Wilson signs with a third division team in Slovenia. And has a great season with them. He has signed with, and here's a great transition to quickly wrap up here, signs with Gorica in the Slovenian Prva Liga, the first division. He is the first American to ever play in the Slovenian first division, Slovenian Premier League, if you will. And not only that, he's going to play in the Europa League.
Really?
Gorica made the Europa League in the qualifying stages, finishing up the top of the Slovenian league behind Olimpia Ljubljana and Maribor, two of the bigger powers. They drew, and I tweeted this out before. From Bucksmont to the big time, they drew Maccabi Tel Aviv from Israel, one of the biggest clubs in Israel. June 30th, July the 7th. We'll make sure that we let you know how he does. I think he's projected to actually be a starter for Gorica this year, so I'm really pumped. And I'm going to claim a little bit of credit from us here at CWTAP because we sent him all of our games that we did last year so he could start to put together a highlight reel. So you're welcome, Sachem. But no, we'll
see him in the MLS soon, I think.
We wish him
Gideon Bach came from
I wish
Europa
him all the
League
best. This is a young man from Stowe, Ohio, who's now going to be playing in the Europa League. You watch that name. I'm not going to say he's going to be a national team player, but he's somebody who's going to make a name for himself. And the NPSL got him started on his way. So if you've never been, come on out, watch Bucksmont. We'll be there. Rob, myself. If you want, we'll sign autographs. It's fine. If you get a Bucksmont shirt or a scarf or something like that, you want us to sign it for you, no problem. We'll
Alex
do that.
is the real star. To
No.
be honest. Everywhere we go. Alex. He knows everyone in this town.
Oh, please. I know. I'm not Uncle Jeffrey. He's the one who really knows everybody.
Yeah, we were way out. Where were we?
We were out in Topton, Pennsylvania. And everybody knew Uncle Jeffrey out there, our boss. And I think, he's now fearless leader. I always used to call Jolly Joe Timmer fearless leader at WGPA. Well, we're here now. And Uncle Jeffrey, God rest his soul. I love you, Joe. But Uncle Jeffrey is now fearless leader, and everyone knows him. He's that guy. Great guy. He's a great guy to work for. But again, Europa League, real quick before we get out of here. American, if you will, Heart of Midlothian, Perry Kitchen, the national team player. They drew Infonet Tallinn from Estonia.
Oh,
bunch of amateurs. But worse things have happened for some of these teams when they play these opening round games if you're not ready. There's really nothing too big of note outside of, really, for me, Gorica playing Maccabi Tel Aviv because of that personal connection I have to Sachem. I know a lot about all of these teams, but us being in overtime, I really probably shouldn't get going.
Yeah, there's tons of teams here that Alex could go way into depth.
At this point, we might as well just stay till 9:30 and then put on a half-hour show to get to 10 o'clock for the show at 10. So you know what? If you're watching us on the internet, you're watching us at home, you like soccer, guess what? You're getting us for another 15 minutes. We're going to take a pause for the cause, pay some bills, and then we'll be back. We'll do Europa League, Champions League, and then we'll run an WEEU sound room at 9:30, and that'll take us to 10 o'clock for the show at 10 with Art Cardos. And who knows? Maybe this will be a 2-hour show one day. Keep it tuned.
College Hill Tavern, located at 420 Cattell Street in Easton, is more than just your neighborhood bar. It's an Easton tradition. Whether you're off to Fisher Field to watch Lafayette or simply passing through town, stop by the College Hill Tavern, where the Milham family serves some of the best food, drink, and company around. The College Hill Tavern is a museum for Lehigh Valley sports fans, so you always have an opportunity to talk about local high school, college, or professional sport with your fellow patrons. The College Hill Tavern offers a full menu as well as 10 beers on tap with an extensive selection of bottled domestic, imported, and craft brews. If beer isn't your thing, the College Hill Tavern has a fine wine list and wide variety of other liquors. The College Hill Tavern is open 7 days a week from 12 noon until 2 a.m. with food served until midnight daily. Visit the College Hill Tavern online at cht.bar or call them at 610-829-5470. That's 610-829-5470. Better yet, stop by the College Hill Tavern at 420 Cattell Street in Easton today and experience this Lehigh Valley tradition personally. The Barnyard Market, located on Route 100 between Macungie and Shimersville, has served the gardening needs of Lehigh Valley residents for many years. At the Barnyard Market, you will find a wide variety of garden plants, hanging baskets, lawn furniture and decorations, firewood, mulch, farm fresh eggs, garden tools, and more. The Barnyard Market prides itself on stocking seasonal local produce as well as fresh jarred products directly from Pennsylvania Dutch country. The Barnyard Market is open Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. You can call the Barnyard at 610-966-2341. That's 610-966-2341. Be sure to visit their website at www.thebarnyardmarket.com, or even better, stop by the Barnyard Market on Route 100 between Macungie and Shimersville and view their plants, produce, lawn ornaments, and more personally. Don't forget to let Bubba and his staff know that you saw their commercial on CWTAP television. Be it spring, summer, or fall, the Barnyard has it all.
Over the past few years, I reached the point where I struggled to do any activities that required two hands. I was embarrassed by my shaking. After speaking with my neurologist, I chose St. Luke's Movement Disorder Center. They have over a decade of experience successfully treating Parkinson's disease and essential tremor. This is my programmer. It allows me to turn my device on and off. This is me when I'm turned off. It was challenging to even get a glass of water. This is me when my device is turned on. I was apprehensive to have DBS surgery, but I was more concerned about missing my window of opportunity. I'm enjoying life again because DBS has restored my independence.
DBS therapy requires brain surgery that may include serious complications such as coma, bleeding inside the brain, seizures, and infection. Medtronic DBS therapy may cause worsening of some motor symptoms associated with your movement disorder and may cause speech and language impairments. If you or a loved one suffers from Parkinson's disease or essential tremor, call to find out more about DBS therapy.
All right, we're back here on CWTAP. Again, Alex Fidrashevsky, Rob Celentano going overtime on the corner kick. Remember, we got WEEU Sound Room coming up 9:30 tonight. Mountain Folk TV. Eastside Dave Klein, if you were out there at the Mountain Folk Festival this weekend. Oh my gosh, it was absolutely fantastic from what I hear. I know we didn't get out there. A lot of Father's Day festivities, unfortunately. Just couldn't make it out there, but we will be out in Kutztown over the course of the next few weeks. You're going to get a little introduction to that sign up there, Rob. If you ain't Dutch, you ain't much. So it's all Pennsylvania Dutch, Pennsylvania German folklore. We'll be out there to get interviews with listeners and the vendors. We'll be there for a good guy I know. He used to play with polka band leader Jimmy Sturr, Eddie Goldberg in the Odessa Klezmer band.
I
We'll
started to like polka
that.
music since working here. You know?
You don't have to lie.
No, the one with the soccer show. What was that called? The kids were taking the soccer ball around. German polka.
We told Rob, because we do a lot of polka stuff here at CWTAP. One of two things is gonna happen. You're either gonna hate us and want to burn the building down when you're done, or you're gonna love us. So hopefully by the end of
I'm on the fence right now.
Hopefully by the end we can tip you to love.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll go the last 15-10 minutes here. I guess about 10 minutes now, and talk about the Europa League and the Champions League. During the commercial break, Rob was sitting here going, how do you know about these teams? I told him I have no life. I sit there at home at night and I look up rosters and stats from around the world. It's my hobby. It's what I do.
I did know one. I looked at it and I go HJK Helsinki, and I'm like, where do I know that? And he goes, oh, Boss from there. I'm like, that's it. I remember when I was writing it once in Metro, I wrote the article about Gideon Baugh possibly coming, or I wrote one of them, and I remember reading all about the Finnish team from Finland, and reading all about Gideon Baugh and how he played in the Europa League, and that was a big thing to get him to MLS, and I was watching highlights from that league, so to see them back on here, I wonder how they're playing without him.
HJK, I believe, is currently in first place.
There we go.
In the league in Finland. Let me just check on that real
Where did
quick.
Freddie Adu play?
Freddie Adu was in Finland as well. I forget what club he was at. HJK is currently tied for first place.
Oh, cool.
In Finland after 15 games. So they're just about halfway through their season. So they don't seem to be missing Gideon Ba too much. But they've, again, they're big. They're kind of a power club.
Cubs.
In that's where he played. Okay.
KUPS.
KUPS. That's where he was at. They are not, I believe, in the Europa League this year. But this is so much fun. I live for this. This is like my favorite time of year as a soccer fan. I know a lot of people go, oh, the Champions League final, this is it. I sit here and go, the Europa League first qualifying round. I have waited a year for this.
That's like me, and I'm over here watching Albuquerque Seoul and versus like FC Tucson and NPSL.
You can relate.
So I love that. But for this, maybe just because I can't find the streams, if Alex can start sending me these games, I will watch them so I can actually be somewhat up to par with him when he's watching Estonian football or
That's right.
someone from Serbia.
That's right. You're gonna know 48 matches in the first round, and we're gonna go over all of them right now. No, we're not. No, we don't have enough time to do that. I'm pretty sure that would bore everyone to sleep if it hasn't already. There's the Polish teams, obviously, for me. Cracovia from Krakow plays Shkendia Tetovo from Macedonia. Probably get through that first round. Zagłębie Lubin found their way into the Europa League at the expense of Lech Poznan, who's usually there from Poland. Mm-hmm. They'll play Slavia Sofia from Bulgaria. That'll be a little bit tougher match for them. Their coefficient this year is going to basically depend on Legia Warsaw. Piast Gliwice is the third team from Poland. Their likely opponent will be IFK Göteborg from Sweden, who handled Śląsk Wrocław from Poland pretty handily last year. Once you get to that second round, you start to see some names people might know. Partizan Belgrade, Hibernian, Austria Vienna, Grasshoppers from Zurich.
Okay, yeah, I've heard some of these.
Genk. You get a little bit more talented teams, and then once you get to the third round, that's when the beasts start to feast on the
Spartak Moscow,
the survivors. That's when you see Rapid Vienna, Krasnodar entering AZ, Alkmaar, Lille, and that's
Sassuolo.
Sassuolo. I'm really, really excited that Sassuolo made it to Europa League.
They were amazing.
Unfortunately, I know as a Milan fan, you got to be sad. But Sassuolo did it basically with an entirely Italian roster, and I respect them for that. That they didn't go out and spend all this money on these foreign players. They used
young team.
They used a lot of Italian players, and it's worked out for them. And I really hope that they make it to the group stage. The Europa League, again, with 48 matches, how can you really you really break it down outside of picking a few favorites? I went through the Polish teams. Bob Bradley's former team Stuybeck is in there. They're playing a team from Wales. Connah's Key Nomads. They're an amateur side. Stuybeck is really struggling without Bob Bradley, who did a good job in France in the second division there this year. And then the last 5 minutes before we head on out of here, Champions League. The draw for the first two rounds of Champions League took place, and this is where, again, in Champions League, you'll see some names that fans not named Alex Fidrushevsky will know. And that's not to pat myself on the back. I think it's actually to say I have no life outside of soccer.
We
polka music and soccer is pretty much what I do.
Yeah.
We were actually kicking the ball around out in the yard in the back of CWTAP during our dinner break before we came in. But that's where you start to see the teams like Rosenborg and FC Copenhagen, Celtic, Dinamo Zagreb. Those are teams that are a little more
Rangers
known.
Anywhere to be found in any of this?
Rangers not this year. No, Rangers lost the Scottish Cup final to Hibs. That's right. The Hibernian will be in the Europa League, but Rangers back in Scottish Prem this year. Really good thing. I'd like to see
them in Celtic.
I'd like to see Zalalem get loaned back there. Maybe get some time. Miazga would be good. I think to get a loan there from Chelsea rather than have him sit on the bench. I think
Crenshaw's a rumor.
Crenshaw probably leaving the Cosmos to head there. when you look at this Champions League second qualifying round, and I'm probably on my own here, I really, really am excited about the Trenčín Olimpia Ljubljana match. Trenčín won the Slovak League. They have a handful of players that they've brought in from the Netherlands who are very, very talented. Some of them on loan from Eredivisie clubs over the years that they've kept. And Ljubljana knocked off Maribor, who had won the Slovenian League a handful of years in a row. I think that will be a really, really good matchup. Olympia has spent a lot of money as well over the last year and a half to build a quality roster, and those Slovenian sides can be dangerous. Maribor has made it to the group stage of the Champions League several times, made it to the group stage of Europa League a few times. They gave it to Celtic really good after Legia beat them and knocked them out, but fielded an ineligible player for 3 minutes, but we don't talk about that. That was a disaster.
I remember seeing that.
But Maribor was able to undo Celtic. Celtic will take on the winners of Lincoln Red Imps of Gibraltar and Flora Tallinn. Hopefully they can get by that one, and then you get into the a little bit more difficult games in the third round. I like that one matchup, though. I'm really going to pay attention to that, to the Olympia Trenčín match. I think another team to watch out of the first group here when you start the second qualifying round after the real bottom of the coefficient plays, where you have Estonia, Gibraltar, Wales, those teams in the first round. I think you should watch out because they didn't get disqualified this year. It's funny that you say disqualified. You know, they didn't get booted from the tournament this time.
Disqualified.
Red Star Belgrade blasted through the Serbian Premier League, the Serbian League this year, and really ran roughshod over that team and is keeping this roster together that in the regular season, prior to the split of the championship and relegation round, 26 wins and 4 draws in what is legitimately a pretty tough league in the top 8. Their top half is pretty tough. And they did it scoring 82 goals and only giving up 19. And then in the second round after the final match, they ended up 30 wins, 5 draws, 2 defeats. Almost scored 100 goals. And again, this is a team, they kept everybody together. They'll have a pretty easy walkthrough in the first round, and then it could get interesting because that's a team that won't be seeded in the second round because of the coefficient. They'll be on the right side of the bracket. I wouldn't be surprised to see them knock off a bigger club. They have a lot of talent on that team. But
I wish I could comment.
I know.
This
is kind of me on my own, and I know even if JJ was here,
I was good for the first hour and 15 or so.
This is stuff we had to get in. We had this extra time to fill, and now that we're down to the last 2 minutes, we will wrap things up.
Alex knows all things soccer. I mean, I'm looking through the list, and I'm like, oh, Stroomsgod said Martin Odegaard played there. Oh, Hertz doesn't, so-and-so played there. And then Alex is just, he knows so far into the lower leagues of countries that it's absolutely amazing. So
it's called addiction, folks.
By the end of the summer, I'm going to know about 3rd Division Sweden. I'm going to know about 4th Division.
Hey, third Division Sweden. There are a handful of former Junior Lone Star guys
really
currently plying their trade in
Junior Lone Star is really
Swedish 2nd Division. Actually, there's some very good players. Junior Lone Star from Philadelphia.
We saw them against Bucksman.
Another unPSL team. But we're here down to the final 60 seconds. Then it's time for Mountain Folk TV from WEEU, one of our fine partners that we work with out in the Reading area. That they're so nice to provide us footage to put on the television here at CWTAP. So we'll have that coming up in the last minute. Final thought.
I'm going to kind of go again with supporting soccer in general, whether that means coming out to Bucksman on Wednesday.
We'll see you there.
Or watching the U.S. game tomorrow night. I mean, if you're not a huge soccer fan, I'm guessing if you're watching this show, you have some interest in soccer. Go on and go to a game, or even just watch it on TV. It's, a ton of fun to bring the family to these MPSL games, or even if you want to go to the Bethlehem Steel right down at Goodman Stadium in Lehigh. It's a good time, and U.S. Soccer, go support the country. 4th of July is coming up.
Yeah, I think, I echo that completely. Again, if you're not necessarily the biggest soccer fan, USA tomorrow night, red, white, and blue, no other reason you need. Go cheer on the national team. I'm going to give a shout-out To everybody who watched tonight that was part of the Once a Metro crew that was messaging Rob while we were hanging here, he said that there's a handful of you watching. I'm also going to give a shout-out locally to John Pavlovchak. He was watching tonight, shot me a text message.
And JJ.
And we'll say hello to JJ, too. Hopefully we'll have you back in the studio here next week, but want to give them a shout-out specifically for watching us here tonight and appreciate their positive comments throughout the show. And again, to everybody, thank you for watching. God bless each and every one of you. God bless America. Go U.S. Go beat Argentina. And we will catch you next week here on CWTAP. Remember, Bucksmont game will be there. Wednesday re-airs Thursday, 5 and 11. And then again, Friday, 5 and 11. God bless. Good night from CWTAP. Mountain Folk TV.
Howdy hi, this is yours truly, Eastside Dave Klein, inviting you to yank up a stump and sit her down and enjoy the Mountain Folk Show. We've got all kinds of great bluegrass, folk, and acoustic mountain music just for you.
This beat's got to kick it off, so move it on over. Shove it on over, shove it on over, shove it over, let it go, let the big dog come in. Change the lock on my back door, and now my kid on bed, no more, so ease it on over, slide it on over, slide it on over, slide it over, red dog, let the blue dog come in. Ease it on over, skate it on over, skate it on over, get it over, tall dog with a short